Analyzing a systemic failure requires examining the variables that were present at the start. We are looking at a project that collapsed despite heavy investment, framed from the perspective of a divine creator evaluating his own work. Jacob chapter 5, verse 38 states, "And it came to pass that the Lord of the vineyard said unto his servant, Let us go down into the nethermost parts of the vineyard, and behold if the natural branches have brought forth much fruit." The nethermost parts in this allegory refer to extreme geographic isolation, areas of the vineyard furthest from the original source. Because the text describes these branches as being led a long way from home to the ends of the earth, this location maps to ancient America, representing the furthest frontier for the scattered groups of Israel.
The inspection asks if these isolated groups manage to survive their surroundings and produce anything of value after so much time. This geographic isolation sets the scale for the civilizational failure the inspection is about to reveal. Jacob chapter 5, verse 39 states that every natural branch they inspected, from the first to the last, had become totally corrupt. This indicates a total failure rate across every location where the ancient Israelites were planted. The focus narrows to the final branch, the colony of Lehi. The timeline of this single group splits into two divergent paths. Jacob chapter 5, verse 40 states, "And the wild fruit of the last had overcome that part of the tree which brought forth good fruit, even that the branch had withered away and died." The colony split into two rival civilizations. The good fruit represents the Nephites, and the wild fruit represents the Lamanites. The wild fruit aggressively overtook and destroyed the good fruit, leaving only the wild line remaining on the tree. In the Book of Mormon, this corresponds to the final wars that led to the complete extinction of the Nephite people. This civilizational extinction was the direct result of an internal, structural split within the colony. To understand the collapse, we have to look at the environment the Creator prepared before the colony arrived. Ancient America was a curated environment, selected for its specific geographic advantages. Jacob chapter 5, verse 43 states, "Behold, this last, whose branch hath withered away, I did plant in a good spot of ground, yea, even that which was choice unto me above all other parts of the land of my vineyard." The choice land is described as a geographic location specifically optimized for the success of those planted there. This environment provided every possible physical advantage for a civilization to grow and thrive. The Nephite civilization met its end in the very location statistically most likely to guarantee survival. This choice land was already occupied when the Lord selected it. Jacob chapter 5, verse 44 states, "And thou beheldest that I also cut down that which cumbered this spot of ground, that I might plant this tree in the stead thereof." Clearing the ground refers to the removal of the existing population to make room for the new branch. This previously removed population is identified as the Jaredites, who lived in the Americas before the arrival of Lehi's colony. The Jaredites were an established civilization that had dominated the region for centuries. Clearing the ground involved the total displacement of this earlier civilization to open the landscape, a massive divine effort. The removal of the Jaredites represents the level of divine effort used to prepare this specific zone. This clearing was done to provide a pristine, isolated environment exclusively for the Nephite and Lamanite civilizations. The land was curated down to its foundations before the first branch was planted. By removing all external competitors, the Creator gave the new civilization every possible starting advantage.
The Nephite collapse is significant because it follows the total removal of the previous inhabitants to prepare their soil. The focus shifts from the preparation of the land to the consequence of its collapse. The timeline ends with a ruined vineyard. Jacob chapter 5 verse 41 states, "And it came to pass that the Lord of the vineyard wept, and said unto the servant, What could I have done more for my vineyard?" The text depicts divine grief rather than anger in the face of this failure. The question, "What more could I have done?" indicates that every external variable for success had been optimized and exhausted. While the Lord controlled the geography and the preparation, he did not force the choices of the inhabitants. The collapse represents a loss for the Creator, rooted in the exercise of free will by the people. Even optimal geographic conditions and extensive preparation cannot guarantee a successful outcome when human agency is the deciding factor. The final irony of the collapse is found in how the wild fruit gained the strength to destroy the good. Jacob chapter 5, verse 45 states, "And because I plucked not the branches thereof, and cast them into the fire, behold, they have overcome the good branch that it hath withered away." The flowchart shows how the decision to spare the wild fruit created the conditions for it to eventually eclipse the good. This maps to the decision to allow the Lamanite civilization to coexist rather than removing them early on. An act of divine patience and mercy provided the time and space for the eventual destruction of the primary civilization. The Nephites were not wiped out by an external force or a natural disaster. The vulnerability was internal. Mercy toward the rival branch allowed it to grow strong enough to destroy the good branch. In the prepared geography of ancient America, the final tragedy is that an act of divine mercy facilitated the total extinction of the civilization it was meant to preserve.